I'm going to be making some videos documenting my experience as a new e-bike owner, and it really follows up the video that I recently put out of buying an e-bike for the first time. And I didn't think I'd be making a video like this soon in the project. And I want to talk about my experience that I've had with the e-bike, part very positive and part very negative. So first, the positive. I rode on my local trails and the e-bike did exactly what I wanted it to do. I mentioned in my video where I revealed buying the bike that I bought it for two main reasons. One was to go really fast on my flatter local trail so I can practice for riding in the mountains, develop those skills, and then having it as a shuttle bike up in the mountains so I don't have to, pay for a shuttle or go to a bike park. Riding it on my local trails was a blast. I was able to hit things so much faster than I normally would have, and especially like uphills or slight uphills where I may be going 5 to 10 miles an hour, I'm going 18 miles an hour. So hitting sections in a direction at a speed that I never had before, and it really does work on your skills. Now, you do have to be careful because you don't want to go around blind corners. You don't want to do it when the trails are really populated on busy days. But if you can do it safely and you can, ride within your limits, having an e-bike can help you go so much faster. And I talked to some guys, I'm in North Carolina right now, I talked to some guys at Ride Rock Creek who live in Florida. They're up here doing the enduro race and the downhill race. And they live, like I said, they live in Florida. They have e-bikes, and we were talking about that same thing. And they confirmed that's one of the reasons they ride an e-bike in Florida is because they can go so much faster. And when they get up here to the mountains, their skills are improved. So handling the bike at speed. In fact, I can honestly see myself using the e-bike more for that purpose versus a shuttle bike, because I'm up here riding the mountains and I love riding a regular mountain bike in the mountains. I love the climbing. I love everything about it. So now let's get into the negative. Again, I didn't think I'd be talking about this soon. So when I first got the bike, the display did not turn on. I could not power on the e-bike even though the battery was fully charged. So I went online, did some research, and this is a specialized turbo Levo comp carbon. It's a 2022 model. So it's obviously been sitting in the box for probably a couple years, but it was brand new out of the box. But when I first got it, the display would not turn on. I looked online and someone said, yeah, you got to wake up the controller. Specialized calls it the TCU. Because if it's been in storage for a while, you got to kind of wake it up or whatever. I said, okay. So I did that. I plugged it in to a USB-C. It came on. It worked great. And I took it out for a ride and turned it on and off several times, just messing around with the bike even before I rode it. So I thought all was good. And then I did my first ride, recharged the battery, hooked it back up, and the bike would not turn on. It just wouldn't turn on. And so I tried, plugging it into the USB. You have to take it out of the bike, plug it in, and then it didn't work. I could not get the display to come back on. So I took it to the shop, and the shop, they were great. They did, Super Cool Bike Shop did everything that they could. I think they replaced the motor they swapped from another one, swapped the TCU, nothing. So we think it's a bad wiring harness. That's, to me, probably one of the biggest negatives of an e-bike is a regular bike. I have learned to do pretty much every form of maintenance on a bike short of breaking down the intricate parts of suspension. I don't do that. But pretty much everything else, even suspension maintenance, changing the oil, all that, I can pretty much do anything on a bike. I have all the tools to do it. With an e-bike, I'm totally at the mercy of my bike shop if there's ever a problem. And then of course, if you're doing a trip, so I had planned to bring the e-bike on this trip. I'm right close to DuPont, and my son's racing Ride Rock Creek. He's doing the downhill. And so I was gonna ride Canoga Bike Park. Well, I couldn't do it, couldn't bring the bike. Now, in hindsight, it actually has worked out fine. I rode DuPont 3 days in a row now. Our house that we're staying at, the Airbnb, is literally 4.5 minutes drive to DuPont State Forest, one of the trailheads. And it's about a 10-minute ride to get there and about a 15-minute ride to get back because I've got to climb a massive hill to get back up to this house. It's like it climbs 300 feet in less than half a mile. So it's a brutal climb to get back up to the house after your all day of riding. So anyway, so it's worked out fine. But, you know, what do you do? Like if it's just, there's just more to go wrong with an e-bike. And that's, to me, one of the negatives. Like if I were to go on a trip, you know, plan this big trip around, you know, bringing an e-bike and riding, and then something goes wrong and you can't fix it on the trip, you're out of luck. Now, I would never go on a bike trip with bringing the e-bike and not bring a regular bike. Number one is, even if I do e-bike rides on a bike trip up to the mountains, I would probably alternate between analog, acoustic, whatever you call it. People call it different things, regular mountain bike and an e-bike. But the point is, there's just more to go wrong with an e-bike, and that's one of the negatives. I think we're going to get this solved, and probably I'm not going to have any problems. I talked to several of my friends who have e-bikes, and they haven't had any problems with theirs, so it's probably just a fluke. I want to jump in here as I edit this video back at home, because I think it's only fair for me to do so and say that the e-bike is back up and running. My local bike shop ordered the wiring harnesses. Rather than going through the whole warranty process and having that take a while, the owner of the shop, on his own dime, just ordered the 2 wiring harnesses. So the one that goes from the controller to the battery, that was $150. The one that goes from the battery to the motor, that was less than 20 bucks. And so we replaced both of those, and it seems to be working just fine. I have not ridden the bike yet at this point, but I've unplugged the battery and plugged it back in and powered it off and on, and everything's working just fine. So again, it was really noble of my local shop to do that. If you're in the Gainesville, Florida area, Super Cool Bike Shop is a shop that I can highly recommend. That's why it's so important to work with a shop that you trust, one that's reputable, because you're going to have problems from time to time like this, and to have a reputable brand and a reputable shop is very valuable. And now back to the original video. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of make this follow-up video to talk about my experience of riding the e-bike, both positive and negative. I hope that the experience of owning an e-bike is going to be very positive. I can get this worked out, man, just to once a week get out and just hammer on the trails as fast as possible and work on my skills and have fun. I think I'm going to love it. Let me know in the comments if you have an e-bike. What's your experience been as far as maintenance? Has it been a problem for you? What kind of problems have you had, if you have had problems? I'd really love to know. And even if you have an e-bike and you haven't had problems, let me know too, because I want to kind of see like how many e-bike owners are out there who have never had a problem, because most of my friends who have e-bikes have never had problems with theirs. So hopefully it's just a fluke, and I'll be back on the e-bike riding it on my local trails and having fun. So that's going to wrap it up for this e-bike update video. I'll be making a few more as I venture out into this world of owning a bicycle with a motor. So far, you know, ups and downs, no pun intended. We'll see how it goes in the future. All right, catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.